I knew about this VIVEASH and Mark Robins situation way back. That's what I've heard, but I didn't really say much about it because I didn't know if it was true. I think a lot of the answers, the questions weren't answered. There were a lot of questions that he hid from, and he kept talking about the same thing. First of all, I want to start with this whole situation with Robins and VIVEASH falling out. I heard they did. And it's quite sad that a great leader like Doug King, a great owner of business, couldn't get him to sit down, couldn't get him to sort it out in one room. So what does that tell you about his ownership skills, his leadership skills? Yeah, as he's the top dog, why couldn't he sort that out? All right, I think there's been a lot more going on than that, but it was good of him to come forward and let us know. And then why weren't we told about this way back then? So it happened last April. Why didn't the fans know? So if that's the case, how many things do they hide from the fans? I think we have a right to know who's managing our club, who's coaching our club, who's doing in what position. We pay big money to watch this team, right? Home and away, we spend big money on merchandising. It's our club, and yet they hide things like this from us. And the Dennis Lawrence situation, that was sort of brushed to one side. Why did Dennis Lawrence leave? There must have been a reason why Dennis Lawrence left. At the end of the day, he was just as much as important as VIVEASH, just as much as important as Mark Robins. The fans are not in the know-how. And we demand that we know things like this, because we've been talking about this VIVEASH situation for the last freaking year or so, and it's out of order. At the end of the day, you take it out, you're quick to take our money, but you can't tell us who's running the club. There's more to this than meets the eye, and I don't be surprised if VIVEASH comes back. VIVEASH's Chelsea connections and Frank Lampard. I don't really rate Frank Lampard, but I can see VIVEASH, Frank Lampard coming back. I don't know. It's just speculation. I could see that possibly happening. But, as long as VIVEASH comes back in some sort of shape or form, it can only be a good thing for the club, because we know how good he was. So, I don't know. It'd be nice to see VIVEASH come in, sooner rather than later. I thought VIVEASH is absolutely top at what he does. I think the players were really pampered in this whole interview. All the blame was put down to Mark Robins and his fallout with VIVEASH, and his frailties to find a number two. Absolute dog crap. And the players weren't blamed one bit, and the new coaches who have come in weren't blamed one bit. The recruitment, the great deck of players. Where's the deck of cards? You've given Mark Robins a great deck of players. Keep talking about these great deck of players. So when these great deck of players ain't consistently performing week in, week out, and they're picking up their freaking big wages, why ain't they been criticised in any shape or form? Why hasn't he said the players haven't given their all? He's not played, they ain't played for the manager. There must have been a reason. There's so much that he hasn't done. And the coaches that have been brought in haven't been good enough. You've got George Boateng there, supposed to be absolutely great midfielder. The midfield's completely crumbled all season. Why is that? There's so many questions that we should have asked him, which weren't asked for. We just kept talking about the same thing again and again and again. I thought the actual interview weren't great. Yeah, the right people weren't in the room. You should have had the right people like ourselves in the room, and proper questions would have been asked, and we would have demanded the answers. I just feel really sad still at the moment, and it doesn't feel right without Robins being at the helm. I thought all the blame was to put on him. I think Doug King's to blame about a lot of things. There's been uncertainty in the management, and Doug has had a part of it. There's two ways about it. He ain't got the right people running the staffing at the moment at all. I thought his absolute shambles. Our set pieces have been really rubbish this year. There's been there's no organisation in the formation. So whoever he's employing, he ain't done the right job. And we never talked about the Casey Palmer situation. Now, Casey Palmer, from what I've heard, Mark Robins came into training one morning. We might as well lay the deck of cards right down. So he's come on, and Palmer's gone to Robins. Gaffer, I'm not wanted no more. So guys, tell me what that's about, okay? There you go. Not going to say any more. There's a lot of things that have happened, right, behind Mark Robins' back. And I'm not letting him take all the freaking blame. No freaking way. The contracts weren't offered. We can talk about big money. Callum O'Hare, Even Hamer at one point, the money weren't offered. All these big players were brought in 6 million, 7 million, 6 million, 4 million, 1 million. Surely sacrificing one of them players and giving one Hamer, you know, or O'Hare a big contract wouldn't have hurt the team. I know we could have possibly kept one of them at least. And all the money he says he keeps investing in the transfers, that's come from the player sales. So he's acting like he's put 15, 20, 25 million out of his own pocket. He hasn't. Most of that money's come from players that we've sold. He wants a head coach there because he wants to be the yes man. He wants to be involved in which players come in, which players come out. He wants to be involved in, you know, team selections, team formations. He's on about loan players now, isn't he? That we've got a duty of care to keep our relationships with other freaking clubs. Nah, mate. He wants to be involved in the football inside, and this is gonna be a big backlash. We need a manager, you know, someone like Mark Robbie. We need a manager to manage the team, you know, to just focus on the football inside. They could do the business talk and everything. Did the players even once in that whole interview get criticised? Even once did he mention the poor performance of the players? He kept talking about this superb deck, innit? Like he's got a great pack of cards out of FIFA and they're the best players. So, Mr. King, if they're really that good and they are the best crop of players Mark Robins had for a long time, why ain't they performing as good as we have in previous seasons? Go on. So this is a better deck of players when we had Gyökeres, Hamer and O'Hare. I don't think so. I think that team there would have beat the living crap out of this team at the moment. I'm not on about slating the players. I'm on about at least say the players ain't performed to the standard that we believe them to be performing at, instead of just blaming Mark Robins. Mark Robins weren't there to defend himself, all right? And at the end of the day, the players do need a kick up the arse. When you're at work and you're underperforming, you get a kick up the arse, don't you? So what? Why can't these players get a kick up the arse? I reckon one of the reasons the players ain't performing, they're pampered too much. And they clearly are. I mean, look the other day against Sunderland. They're getting battered, right? Half time, they needed the right rollicking and rolling their sleeves up to actually, you know, come and make an impact. We have to ask this from them all the time. They should just come and play, as we know they can play. Very Jekyll and Hyde team at the moment. Mark Robins, if you're listening out there, please, for us fans, you know we love you a lot. Please come on social media or on the BBC. Please let us know your thoughts, because you can't just leave like that without saying anything, because we demand an explanation from your side. There's always two sides to a story. You've been treated like a scapegoat. Can you please come and give us your explanation and at least say farewell and let us know how much you love us, okay? Because I know you do. Top manager, you will always be regarded up there by us regardless of what happens. And I'm speaking for 90% of our fans. I don't think why he thinks he knows so much about football for. He's not been into football. He's not been into football. So it's like someone owning a load of supermarkets, yeah, just coming in, running a football club, talking about head coaches, who he's going to get this, he's going to get that, player recruits was that. It looks like he just read a freaking big book and then he's come in. I just hope I get proved wrong, and I hope things work out very, very well. Nothing wrong with being proven wrong as long as the Sky Blues are absolutely smashing it. But we've got to look forward to the future. It's very hard. I mean, even watching the Sunderland game when we flipping got the equaliser, tried to celebrate, but at the end still felt like, you know, we lost because he weren't there. Without the flipping headmaster on the side of the touchline, it just doesn't feel right. But anyway, guys, I've said my bit. Enjoy the international break and, you know, keep supporting Sky Blue Army TV.